If you follow the channel, you'll be aware that I attended FS Expo in Las Vegas. I wasn't aware until just before the show that Somnium were going to be exhibiting the VR1. To be perfectly honest, up to this point, the Somnium offering has not been very exciting to me as a flight simmer simply because of its extraordinarily high price point. Bear in mind, the prices that you're looking at are in euros, not US dollars. So what you're about to see are my first impressions, and on the Saturday morning I was first through the door and headed directly to the Somnium stand, with my mindset set that it's overhyped and overpriced. It should also be noted that the demonstration was in DCS, not Microsoft Flight Simulator. I made some notes that it was a high-end CPU with a 3080 graphics card. Now I may have got that wrong, as I may have scribbled down the wrong specs. Despite being first through the door, I wasn't first in the queue. A gentleman named Lee was ahead of me and got to test out the VR headset first. Later on in the video, we'll get his opinion.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Simhanger. My name is Mark, and guess what? I'm in the Somnium VR1, giving it a test in a fighter jet here, and my first reaction in terms of the graphics is wow. Now I've seen Steve, VR Flight Sim guy, talk about the graphics, and I do like the Pimax crystal. I've got the Pimax crystal, and I wasn't quite sure, to be honest, whether or not it could be a significant change on that. But let me tell you guys that if graphics are important to you, well, you're gonna be shocked. This is ridiculously clear. That's incredible. The one thing I did notice in putting on the headset was the sweet spot's really quite large. It was hard to set my IPD, which is done manually, because the sweet spot's so big. It's just incredible. The one negative I must say is that it is very front heavy at the moment. Now I believe Somnium VR are aware of that and are working on a solution, but it's certainly front heavy, and more so than the Pimax crystal is. Not quite as well balanced, I would say, but in terms of clarity, now I'm not sure what the processor is that they're using, but I can tell you guys this is absolutely super smooth. I am very impressed. Now the Somnium VR1 is an expensive VR headset, and I have to be honest with you, I'd sort of discounted it as a non-entity, if I can be that blunt, because of its price point. But now that I've experienced, there's that certain class, not so much of the enthusiast, but of the pro flight simmer. And I think if you fall into that category, well, you need to give the Somnium VR1 a test, because it certainly will be worth it. I'm here at Flight Sim Expo 2024. I didn't even realize that Somnium was going to have a stand here, so this is a fantastic bonus. Anyway guys, those are just my first impressions. There's a long queue of people waiting to try out the Somnium VR1 headset, so I'll love and leave you, but wow, what an experience. I didn't think these sort of optics were available in a VR headset, but wow. And the FOV, guys, it's quite wide, 120 or so I'm told. I don't know what it is in reality.
Let's now catch up with Lee and see what he thought.
Hi, I just tried the Somnium VR1. I'm an avid VR user. I've pretty much owned every headset there is. This sort of breaks the glass ceiling, especially with a mixed reality component. It'll allow me to use some of my hardware in my rig. The colors are deep, the view is wider, and the presentation is brighter. So it's really actually above and beyond what I expected.
Thank you, Lee, for letting me share your views on the channel. Now Arta, the man behind the Somnium VR1, was not at the show, but was available virtually, and I did have a quick chat to him and shared my views and opinions. Just for clarity, for those watching this video, this is not a review, this was just a first impression. And you have to bear in mind I only spent a relatively short time, probably 5 to 10 minutes in the headset in total. So at this juncture, I'm not in a position to give any definitive decision or opinion. I will say, however, that I think the graphics are the best I've ever experienced in a VR headset. But I was quite surprised they decided to test it in DCS and not Microsoft Flight Simulator, the latter being much heavier on the demands of the VR headset, of course. This headset, and particularly the version that I tested, which was the Ultimate Edition, does not really represent true bang for your buck, but it will appeal to the more pro-flight simmer with relatively high levels of disposable income. And if you fall into that category, well, you should give it a test. It is inevitable that you'll draw a comparison to the Pimax Crystal or perhaps even the Pimax Crystal Lite, depending on what version of the Somnium VR1 you're considering, and overall at this stage, Pimax offers better bang for your buck for the large majority of flight simmers out there. Well, I hope you found this useful and informative. Thank you very much for joining me. Stay well, see you soon, and ciao for now.